So a little while ago, I made a video where I was comparing desktop client versus relativity integration points. And we talked about how data could be loaded using either one of them, which one is better, worse, and so on. And one of the questions people ask is, how do I load my images, or how do I load my data when using desktop client? Do I copy them into the repository, or do I link to them in place? So I think this is what we can talk about today. Today I am at Floyd Bennett Field, and let's see if we can find a cool location somewhere around here and we can talk about that topic. Or more specifically, I will try to answer that question. Let's actually go to the right, because this seems, yeah, let's go this way. Oh, and right there is a New York City police train facility. This is where they drive their cars at like fast speeds, and they practice all kinds of maneuvers, you know, high-speed chase or whatever, obstacle avoidance. I'm not sure what it is. But this is their training course. If you see, all the cones are set up and such. I think a lot of people will remember old workflow when they used to use summation or concordance. We would take a data from a CD that we received, we would drag and drop it onto the server, make sure it's folded by the volume name, and then we'd take an LFP or an OPT, and we would load it into whatever software we were using, and that would create links to original native files and to images. And I believe this is why people are asking this question. Does this workflow still make sense? Should I make folders from my volumes as I receive them, copy them to the server, and keep them organized myself? Or should I let the system figure it out on their own? Should I just hit the button, load to repository, and let it copy files, whatever they are going to be stored in the server, and have no worry about it whatsoever? So what are some of the advantages of manually managing your data? I think you feel more connected with the data more than anything. You know, you have it on your server, you can go in there, look at it, it's all nicely organized, foldered, named exactly how all the outside productions are or your export volumes are. It's also easier to tell how much data of different type you have. Somebody says, hey, how much data we got from so-and-so? You just go select bunch of folders, right-click properties, done. Similar situation could be if IT is saying, hey, you need to clear up some data on the server, we're running out of space. Well, you could go and look at the volumes and you say, hey, these are not important. Let's just move them to a different drive or different storage location. You drag and drop them, move them, and you know no one's accessing them, so it's kind of easier to manage your data that way. Now, besides that, I can't think of any more advantages to manually managing data. In fact, I prefer to copy files into a repository. I prefer to check the checkbox saying, take the data from wherever it's located now and just put it wherever it's supposed to go, on a storage server, somewhere else where I have no access to. Let me explain why. Now, the first and the biggest problem with managing your own data is someone's going to accidentally move something. And this happens so many times when people go in the folders and they drag and drop things, and somebody accidentally takes the root level folder and drops it into a subfolder. Sometimes it's because they have a slow remote desktop connection and they're sitting there all angry, like, what's going on with my mouse not responding? And in that process, they just drag and drop something. And then client goes in to look at a document is not found, you go to look for it, where's the folder? The folder's not there, so you start looking at other folders and you see a subfolder, so you move it outside the folder and bam, you fix the problem. But the original problem is it's so easy to mess up and accidentally drag and drop something or rename. Now, one of the problems, at least we used to have with linking data, not actually copying, is validation. There is no validation that's happening when data is being linked to an existing location. The OPT file just gets sort of sucked in, and there are pointers inside a database. And then when you're going to go to click on a document or an image, the system's going to look for that path and try to find that document or an image, and if it's not there, it'll give you an error message. Then you have to go in and investigate why is that image not there. Normally, you would just check your data set and make sure everything is fine, but it's nice to have that extra assurance, having the system take the files, copy them over. That way you know they're good, they can be read, they can be copied. And in case of relativity, it'll do validation on images to make sure images are in a compatible format and the user is not going to get an error message after the fact. So that's another reason why I think copy to repository is better. And finally, copy into repository shifts responsibility of holding on to the data from analysts or project managers to IT side. When you have your files and folders and so on, and there's a file not found, and you report to IT saying, hey, something happened with the storage, something broke or file disappeared, they're going to say, nah, you did it, right? You drag and drop, you caused the mistake. But when the file gets copied into repository, well, there is a track record that, or a log that the file was there, it was loaded, and if the file were to disappear, well, it's problem on IT side to figure out what happened to the storage system, what happened to RAID, did somebody had unauthorized access, around somehow and deleted the file accidentally, or maybe the case was migrated partially and then half of it was deleted or something stupid like that. So it shifts responsibility from people like project managers and analysts onto the IT people who are in charge of holding on to the data, which is, I think, their job, what their job actually is. So that's my take on link files in place versus copy to repository. I prefer to copy them into the repository. But if you guys are doing something different, please leave it in the comment section below and your reasons why. See you guys on the next video. Bye. I should really buckle up. Yeah, I had to come back and get the tripod. Anyway, this is a really nice place. And if you're looking to learn to drive, you should come to Floyd Banfield and just to drive on the wide open space. However, if you're looking to do like a drag racing or do burnouts, this is a terrible place for it because there are cops all over. Don't come here for that. Okay, now I gotta go. See you.